everyone, Walsh here from Thin Line Defense. So today I'm coming to you with another Let's Shoot video. So if you're not familiar with these, this kind of shoot is just when I come out here and I shoot with you. There's not really much stage footage, but what it is an opportunity for you to interact with me. So you can see me learning and see if those tips will help you. I also love when you put comments down below because then I can improve my skill and then you all can interact with each other also. So I did my previous Let's Shoot video and I got a little bit of feedback. It's nice that it's not structured, but maybe I should have just a little bit of structure. So thanks to Cross Rifled Apparel. If you haven't checked them out, they're pretty awesome. You can see them on Instagram. So first thing we're going to talk about is what we're going to cover. So today we're going to be talking about the proper grip. Now, why is this so important? Well, since I've been training so much with dry fire and in my basement and everything else, my grip really isn't the best. So you can see that when I take a shot, the first shot's going to be extremely accurate. But if your grip isn't good, all the follow-up shots will just start to be a disaster because the grip just starts to fall apart more and more. So particularly, you may see issues with your grip if you are a right-handed shooter and your bullets tend to move to the left. That just means your grip and the pressure you're putting isn't the same. So actually this time we're going to be using the mantisX, and I've actually been training a ton with this. And it's interesting to take an idea and break it down into what you can understand when you're actually using it. So when someone says, you know, have an isometric stance, I don't know that. What does that mean? What does that mean in real people talk? So using the mantis, I could see what I was doing, where I was actually putting more pressure on one arm, and this one was just kind of like sitting out in space. And as I pulled the trigger, it would pull it off target to the right. So this was the biggest tip I've learned, and what I want you guys to practice. When your hands come together, this wind is just trying to kill my cameras. The Sony cam's still alive, but it's done this to me before. We're gonna see. We got some new cameras, but we're gonna see what happens. Stay. So, back to what I was saying. So, when you bring your hands together, bring them out, but the pressure from this hand should be pointing towards this shoulder, and the pressure from this hand should be pointed towards this shoulder. So then when your hands come together with the weapon, they're really just locking each other into position. And then the same, your wrists are just gonna lock out. So it's not so much of, and you have to actually practice this to understand it. It's not so much of putting your hands out in space and you're holding something. This hand is actively jamming into this shoulder, and this hand is actively jamming into the other, but they're running into one another so they don't go anywhere but maintain straight. That's the idea anyway. Let's see if it actually works. So, also, what kit are we using today? So we're gonna be using my P320. So this is a P320 compact with an X carry grip. We're going to be using the mantisX to measure all of our recoil and see if our grip's on point. Holosun 507c, Gray Ghost Precision slide, and a Faxon threaded barrel. If you have any questions about this build, I have a video on it. I'll link it up here, and you can see it for yourself. Obviously, if you have some more questions, just put them down in the comments, and I love to answer them. So this thing is awesome. Oh, and a DPM recoil reduction spring. Super important. Anyway, let's get to shooting. So one of the big sets of tips I got was from Humble Marksman. He really talked about my grip and my breaking my wrist. So that's why I started to look at it and be like, yeah, wow, I really do have some grip issues. So he actually commented on one of the videos where I first went to the range, and he talks about a really good tip that he has where he does about 10 to 20 dry fires before he shoots anything. And I really do recommend that. It's really kind of boring, so I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna spare it from you. All right, so first thing I'm gonna do, I think I have the mantisX set up for it. We're gonna go ahead and just do some standard open training, and then we're gonna do some of the recoil analysis. We're gonna see what it's like shooting just a couple of slow shots to make sure our grip is good. And what we wanna do is when the gun fires, we wanna make sure it's going straight up and down. If it's not going straight up and down, that means we're putting too much pressure on some part of our grip. So if you shoot and then you end up top left, put more grip on the left side. So you wanna push more from the side it's coming weak from. So let's see where I'm weak from. The purpose of this is to go straight up and down, because then we can start to control it. Oh, it goes straight up and down to me. That's awesome, because that means all the training I'm using with the mantisX is actually working, because I used to shoot all over the place, and that wasn't the fastest by far, but I'm still happy. It's still right in the middle. It's good for me. All right, let's do recoil analysis. Oh, and did you see the mantis? Those are good shots. Now I gotta set up on the recoilometer. So what this is gonna do, this is gonna show me where the recoil goes. There's usually gonna be like micro deviations, like things that I can't see, so it's gonna show me that. So let's do 5 of those. I'm gonna try and go a little bit faster now, so we'll see. I'm gonna go for the left circle though on the left target. Yeah, I need to see where that goes because that wasn't very pretty. I feel like I need, like what I'm doing, I'm letting my wrists break. I can feel it. I can actually feel myself doing it. Let's do that one more time. All right, same with the recoilometer. What we're gonna focus on, I'm gonna focus on keeping my hands in the isometric, so pointed toward each other's shoulders and then locking those wrists out. So let's try that real quick. See how this goes. You guys let me know how it looks on the mantis. Probably need to slow down. Let's slow it down. Because if you go too fast, you don't know what you're doing wrong. I think that's where I'm at right here. I'm just not locking out enough stuff. I can go slow and accurate, but fast and accurate, I just get all messy. And as always, if you got tips, shoot them down in the comments. That's what this is all about. This is what this Let's Shoot is all about. So we learn from each other, mostly me learning from you, but I still appreciate it. So here we go, 5. Again, with the recoilometer, going a little bit slower this time. I don't know what those numbers mean. So if I'm looking at the recoilometer, and I gotta study a little more, it looks like I'm definitely not putting enough pressure on my right side. So let me see if I can try and push more from the right and go from there. And this is going to be normal. Like anyone, all of you right-handed shooters are probably going to push a little bit to the left because you're not putting enough pressure on that non-dominant hand. So we can all fix it together. Do it again. Putting a little more pressure in. Going for the top circle this time. Okay, that felt a lot better. It felt like I was still driving up and down, but I could anticipate when it was going to come down into place. So that's just about controlling it. We're getting there. We're getting there. Recoilometer shows a good bit of muzzle rise, but it didn't look like it had as much left and right. So at least I corrected something that time. And hopefully the Sony cam's still working. It's gotten my hopes up before and let me down. So we'll see when we actually get to the end of this if you actually have any footage. All right. Same deal, putting more pressure on the non-dominant hand into that shoulder, isometric, but locking that wrist out. We're gonna go for the other target. And we'll go for the target on the right. Center. Yeah, still a lot on the right. All right, slow it down a little bit more. Let's get it right. Just go faster. I guess the whole trick is accuracy at speed. If it was easy, everyone would do it. But you could see on that one a little bit incorrect grip. You could still control it, you're just slow. But the trick is get the grip just right so you don't have to be slow. All right, try to go a little bit faster, right target, left circle. I mean, I'm 100% not putting enough pressure in the non-dominant hand. So there's always a good way to learn. And a good way to learn from that is to overcompensate. So I'm gonna put way too much pressure. Because then you learn where your limit is. I'm gonna put way too much pressure on the non-dominant hand, the whole shot through. So let's just see how this goes. Sometimes this even works out where you just even out. But let's see what happens. Here we go. So you should see the mantisX show to the left, if I'm doing this right. Even then it's only marginal. So it kind of shows you really drive that non-dominant hand in. And I'm really gonna plug the mantis here. There's no way in the world that I'd be able to see those micro movements and those things that I'm doing just shooting. You'd just be standing here being frustrated, not really even training and not really getting anything done, just wasting ammo. We all know how much this stuff costs right now, if you can even find it. So while a mantis is expensive, you actually learn, and it costs less than 1,000 rounds. Here we go again. I think it was interesting. I'm gonna put a lot of pressure in the non-dominant hand again, making it almost completely in my non-dominant hand where the shooting's coming from. Well, that's certainly a result. I think I still had a lot of rights. I don't feel like the gun's slipping out of my hand though. With the isometric, so with the isometric, what it's doing is it's keeping the gun in my hand, but I have my own micro deviations, but what's not happening is the gun isn't slipping out of my hand. The isometric grip where I'm putting pressure here, okay? And then you're pushing the two arms into each other's shoulders. Now the gun isn't going anywhere. So anyway, I'm gonna keep practicing. I'm gonna see what else I can learn. I'm not gonna waste too much more ammo without getting some comments from you. So if you have some things I can learn or things I can improve, put them down in the comments. I'd love to hear it. So thanks for coming along with me on this one. This is just a short and fun one. We got some cool things planned for the future. We're gonna use the mantis and use the recoilometer to actually measure the difference in recoil on different muzzle brakes on the Tikka. So that's gonna be awesome. But big thanks. Thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing. Thanks to all of our Patreons. And that's it. Thanks a lot, everyone. So I will add, I did a little bit more, and I really focused on the isometric and locking those wrists out. So I'll see if I can find a way to share my screen and kind of show you how the shot pattern, what I really want you to see how the recoil pattern went from like totally crazy to like just this little bump. And that's what we want you to achieve. And you really need something like this. And you really need a way to measure how much you're doing it. And I couldn't pay attention to what I was doing without a tool like this. So find something you can train with. This was super awesome for me. I learned way more in this 10-minute session than I have in a long time. All right, seriously this time.